What are your chromosomes again? What's my chromosomes again? What are my chromosomes again?
I took a test, a karyotype. They try to guess, it keeps them up at night. Cause when I use my phone to check TikTok again, I get to read all their comments. How if I use the restroom, they will follow me. That's natural toxic masculinity. They always wanna fight me when I pee. Gender's not so binary, just folks just want us to give in. What's my chromosomes? My chromosomes again. Specifically, what are my allosomes? But what about Klinefelter syndrome? They think they know a lot, but they can't even spell. They fail high school biology. Now suddenly they're all about my chemistry, but only care about hit 23. They wanna look and see what's in my genes. Male or female DNA, these niggas need us to fit in. What's my chromosomes? My chromosomes again.
You know why I think people struggle with the non-binary community? Because people who aren't fully free don't know how to be around people who are freer than they are, right? And so if you lived your whole life believing that there is only one way to express your gender that's determined by your biology, by the genitalia between your legs, and then decades into your life, you encounter someone who doesn't subscribe to those rules, who isn't confined by those constraints, who's freer than you. It challenges everything about you. It convicts you. And it's the worst kind of conviction or challenge because it's implicit. It's just by their existence. And if you have tied your value, your worth, your essence to these constraints because you believe them to be natural, you believe them to be unmovable, and then you encounter someone who doesn't even acknowledge those constraints, who doesn't even consider them to be real, what does that say about you? Where does that leave you? And if we're being honest, right, especially if you're a woman, but even if you're a man, or if that's how you express yourself and you believe it has to be that way, you have poured such an extensive part of who you are into maintaining and performing in that way, that being around people who are freer than you, people who are not confined by those gender constraints, it requires you to ask yourself, what have I given up? Who could I be? What parts of my brain and life could have flourished if I wasn't wedded to these constraints? If I had just known or conducted myself like or been around people who were free like this? I've sacrificed so much of my brain power, my energy, my time, trying to reflect and respect these constraints that might not even be real. Who am I? Who am I? And one of two things can happen. You can accept that you have operated within these constraints and they've hampered you and begin to break free and question yourself and interrogate yourself and explore and embrace and forgive yourself and begin to heal for the ways your life have been changed, altered, impacted, controlled by these constraints you've yielded to unnecessarily, and allow these people, non-binary people in this particular illustration, but it applies to a bunch of other categories, but let's just say non-binary people for now, especially non-binary people, I say. You can allow them to be your teachers. You can learn from them. You can allow them to embrace you and be nurtured by that community. Or you can have a vitriolic hatred because you can't bear to have to reassess or examine. You can't grapple with the pain of understanding that you've been in bondage that long. I gotta go, parent. Bye.
So every time I hear about this, I think about how clocks work. I promise you this will make sense. You see, clocks, analog clocks anyway, have backwards ratcheting cogs. All the backwards ratcheting cogs are meant to do is just prevent the other cogs from free spinning uncontrollably. They regulate it in increments. All Democrats have done since I have been alive is become that backwards ratcheting cog. They prevent the Republicans from free spinning radically into authoritarianism willy-nilly. But that's pretty much what they've become. That's their only purpose at this point. But see, over time, clocks tend to need to be wound because they lose their tightness over time. Unfortunately for us, though, we only have the two cogs. We don't have anything else that will prevent it from freewheel spinning back into the apocalypse of authoritarian dictatorship. As far as them not wanting to kill us, honey, they've been deliberately not passing laws that will save lives. They make a very good show. But one more thing, riddle me this. How did Donald Trump have so much power that he was almost a dictator? Meanwhile, we need two random Democrats to help Joe Biden make his decisions, though. The difference between Republicans and Democrats is that Democrats don't want to overtly kill us, and they're not obvious about it. But they're still taking the corporate money that is murdering us. The lesser of two evils is still evil.
You ever just go to TJ Maxx and spend $45 on a kettlebell and sheet masks and bamboo toothbrushes because you're sad? Yeah, capitalism, I'm playing right into your sticky little piggy hands.
But nothing's getting through, so let me spell it out. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y. Do they call it oven when you of in the cold? Food of out hot, eat the food.
When you grew up poor, and now you make much more than your parents ever did, you might struggle to fit in. All your Ivy League friends, they just don't understand, but you no longer blend with your boys quite the same. Intersectionality, your privileges can change as you age, but social mobility is a love affair to break down class solidarity to maintain the status of the rich.
Oh, dog, I love questions like this. What is a woman? And by the way, it's never like, what is a man, right? It's always about controlling and defining what a woman should be and look like. These men, they could just look and be however the fuck they want. But it displays the fact that they have no other substantive argument to make. They've lost everything. That's why they've resorted to posting gotchas in their burner account. When in reality, they themselves could not explain what a woman is without excluding what they already would originally assume are women. Y'all remember like 6 months ago when I posted that video, Ask a Conservative What a Woman Is and watch them exclude all types of cisgendered women? Dog, the speed, the ferocity with which they ran to my comments to be so confidently wrong. Oh, ha ha, it's a person who can give birth, that's so easy. Alright, what about menopausal women? What about women who are on birth control? What about women who have a condition that prevents them from ever giving birth? Try again. Oh, well, it's a person with a uterus. Oh, what about women who are assigned female at birth that don't have a uterus? Try again. Well, it's an adult human female. All right, well, now you have to define what a female is without excluding other people assigned female. Good luck, because I know you're going to try and I know you're going to fail. You can be as specific as you want, and you are still going to leave some people out. Because this is the problem with trying to define a social category like this on a biological basis. It's like trying to define a chair as something you can just sit on. Sure, you're going to get some of them, but you're not going to get most of them. You cannot be so positive that we exist in a binary when not only can you not accurately define these categories, but people are not fitting in these categories. Like, that's it. The conversation was already over before we even started, buddy. There should be no discrepancies here. There should be two neat little boxes that everybody fits in, but obviously that's not the case. And you can't define it based off of gender roles either, because not only have they changed throughout human history, but between cultures, within a singular culture, between two people of the same gender. If you tried, you would end up leaving people out. You gotta understand that this is not a serious debate. It's actually embarrassing that people shake their fists at the world as if their feelings matter in the face of reality. And even if it is all just propaganda, it's not. But regardless if it is, these people still exist, which means the conversation is still over. If you ask me what a woman is somebody a straight man could be attracted to. A woman is somebody who identifies as a woman. That's it. Because beyond that, I don't care. It's not that deep. I'd ask you what a man is, because I was raised as a man, and somehow I'm not all uptight about other people's gender identity. Like, why are you so upsetty? This should never be a topic of discussion that leaves you spending days arguing with people in comment sections. A woman is a woman. Oh, it's a circular definition. I don't care. A chair is a chair. A water bottle is a water bottle. How do you plan on feeling about that?
Hey fuckheads, one of the most terrifying things I learned as an adult is that everything around us is just made up bullshit. Like when I was a kid, I was told go to school, then go to college, decide what I want to be, graduate, get the job that I want, work 40 years in a fulfilled life, and then retire and spend my last years playing a fucking banjo or something. But the thing about that is, that story, there's no objective truth to it. It's just this great lie we were sold when we were too young to even know to question it. One of the comments I get all the time is people constantly telling me how much better off we are now than we've ever been as a species. Technology is flourishing, and if you ignore the giant steaming pile of wailing, malodorous corpses, capitalism is the Viagra of unabashed human progress. But I would honestly argue that this might be one of the worst times to be sentient, because we have self-awareness. I know I exist, and I have emotions and feelings, and I am acutely aware of the fact that I'm trapped in time and I am going to die. I know all of that, but I have no idea why the fuck I'm here. What purpose, if any, does our existence bring? This conundrum is so deeply ingrained in us that people dress up in funny clothes every week and listen to an even funnier dressed man tell them a batshit fucking insane story so well crafted it's able to push the wailing cries of existential dread down into the tummy area for a while. And this will never be resolved in my lifetime or yours. This might never be resolved. Our innate sense of self-awareness coupled with the reality of our own demise might be the greatest unintentionally hilarious cosmic absurdity that we are all doomed to play out. And with that boiling cauldron of ontological excrement hanging around our necks and filling our nostrils day in and day out, it amazes me how willing people are to just numb themselves to it. I get it, I understand constantly staring at this unknown abyss could fuck you up pretty good, but I don't know what it says about us that in the face of this existential nightmare, we not only continue to function, but we actively castigate anyone who says this shit. I am sure I'm going to get comments that are going to come rolling in telling me how edgy or immature or childish I'm being by saying this out loud. And maybe you can walk hand in hand with death on the precipice of nothingness, but I'm grabbing the pill bottle just thinking about it. No wonder people aren't willing to work minimum wage jobs getting harassed by some doe-eyed dipshit. We do not have time for that. The clock is ticking, and the last thing that we should have to concern ourselves with is filling out a goddamn spreadsheet, getting paid barely enough to afford food, having zero chance of upward mobility, being tacit perpetrators of a broken social order, having every one of our actions be unethical by fucking design, and the list goes on. Fuck me, but can we just burn this fucking thing to the ground, because I'd really like to meet that chasm of nothingness, knowing that I at least made the pointlessness of our absurd existence an iota better for the poor bastards behind me. Holy shit, that was fucking unhinged. Have a happy new year, everyone.
I don't know who needs to hear this, but development is basically a modern-day version of the white man's burden argument from European colonialism. What constitutes development depends solely on what wealthy, Western capitalist countries believe development is, i.e., how close an economic system is to neoliberal capitalism. Because of this, the policies surrounding development in the Global South are structured around the aims and goals of the Global North. When countries in the Global South don't follow this scheme, Capitalist nations say that these are underdeveloped nations that don't know how to manage their own resources because of the existence of poverty, and that they have a duty to help them develop, essentially forcing the global south to subscribe to a demonstrably unequal capitalist system under the notion of progress. Let's call it what it is, not development, but neo-imperialism.
Excuse me, sir. Would you like a fistful of anthrax or whatever's in this mystery bag?
Oh, wow. I don't think I want anthrax, but I'll take the mystery bag. Yeah,
all right.
Okay.
Let's see what's in it.
What is this, just a whole bag full of anthrax?
A whole bag of anthrax.
Why would you give me this? I'm not supposed to have anthrax.
I'm Anthrax, and I'm a different type of politician. I'm not afraid to poison men in the street, so make sure you vote for me this election season.
You know, I like Anthrax. She's a tough cookie.
No. You're out of your mind. Tough cookies are terrible. I like a soft cookie. Tough cookies hurt my mouth. I want to eat my cookies soft.
It's not about the cookies, okay? It's about Anthrax's policies. She said that she wants to rid the world of human flesh and let the desert of humanity be the womb of creation for a new age, the age of bacteria.
You're taking that out of context.
How is that out of context?
Hey, can we stay on cookies? Here, I want to talk about cookie consistency. I like when there's a little bit of moisture in the room. Makes the cookie
Tough cookies are better.
I like a soft cookie, okay? People need to eat more soft cookies. Soft cookie and milk.
It's not any fucking good.
Step out. Soft consistency.
Here outside of Google's SF offices to demand an end to Project Nimbus. Project Nimbus is a $1.2 billion contract between Google and Amazon and the Israeli military and government. Through Project Nimbus, Google is fueling Israeli military violence by providing powerful cloud services that are used to scale out Israel's capacity for illegal settlement expansion, surveillance, amongst countless other nefarious use cases that Google continues to attempt to sweep under the rug. Shame! Shame! Over 1,000 Google workers took action, signing a petition demanding an end to Project Nimbus, and yet Google ignored them. Shame! Now the genocidal siege on Gaza has claimed over 20,000 lives, and Google continues to repress and stifle the voices of workers and people of conscience. The fact that Google told their workers not to come into this building today, it means our pressure is working. Google is afraid.
It's dandelion wine time, finally. I let my yard go a little crazy, but it's for a good cause. And that good cause is wine. First, gather a ton of open dandelions. If you pull them from the top, you'll just get the calyx and the flower. The calyx is the leaf skirt. If there are ants on them, I find a very simple flick usually removes them, and ants are very strong, so they will be okay. If you have friends or tiny humans at your disposal, I would highly recommend asking them to help you. But I don't, so see you in like 10 minutes. Ooh, I have a dandelion fun fact. You see how our dandelions stay taller than our neighbors? Because we mow our lawn less. And they have this adaptive behavior where if you mow your lawn more, they'll stay lower to the ground to try and avoid you mowing their flowers. Plants are so cool. Okay, the next step is separating the yellow petals from the green calyx. What I find works best is if you just pinch and twist at the center, and see you just get petals and leave the calyx behind. Make sure that you check to make sure no green parts make it in though. That'll turn the entire thing bitter. Push pop, I swear to God. No, these are not for you. These are not for you! Hey, I just got all of these petals and I did it in complete silence, and I don't know what that says about my mental health, but I don't think it's good. We're gonna add our petals into some boiling water, and then once they're all in, we're gonna cut the heat. Let everyone get submerged in the hot water. Now at this point, you're supposed to let the flavor macerate for 3 days, but thanks to movie magic, I did that already. In order to keep things from getting moldy, also, you should stir it every day. And if you're really worried, you can heat it back up to just below boiling. Now you're gonna take your 3-day-old brew and you're gonna slowly bring it back up to boiling. And while that's happening, you're gonna zest in a lemon. And be careful not to go all the way down to the pith, which is the white spongy stuff underneath the skin, because it's kind of bitter. We're gonna add in the zest from a baby orange. Now that our flour zest mix is boiling, it is time to strain out the solid. With everything that I prepared ahead of time, we have about a gallon of liquid. We're gonna need just under 3 pounds of sugar. This is 2 pounds, 15 and some odd ounces. Ooh, in it goes. Okay, so here I have the slices of that orange. Traditionally in dandelion wine, you add in raisins to help feed the yeast. I wanted it to be a little bit more foragey, so these are fermented June berries, AKA service berry, AKA Saskatoon berry. And in they go. And now it's time to add the most important ingredient, the yeast. We gotta wake our girl up in 2 ounces of warm water. Mixy, mixy. And now that she's rehydrated, let's add her to the brew. Gonna ladle this into sterilized jars. The lids are too big. It is midnight and the lids are too big. This will solve some of the problem. This ring is a water lock, so once I put this on, things can't get in, but carbon dioxide can bubble out. Oh, she's fermenting. That is active. 2 weeks later. Hello, I thought it would only take a week. It actually took 2 weeks for the yeast to slow down. I didn't want any bottles exploding in my house. So let's bottle up this wine and finish this video. Bubbles are still happening, but they've slowed down considerably. These are sanitized bottles. This is a sanitized siphon. Let's siphon in some wine. Okay. Things are happening. Wine is whining. Now that we're down to the dregs, but we don't want all of that cloudy yeast in our bottles, I am straining it. Oh my God, you guys, Gibby the groundhog is back. Hi, Gibby. And here are our beautiful bottles of wine. So now that these guys are bottled, we begin the aging process. Most people like to age their dandelion wine for at least 6 months, but a minimum of 2. That being said, I'm gonna try some on day 1 of bottling, and then in 6 months, we can compare. Pinky up. Sweet, it's sunshiny. Tiny little bite at the back to let you know there is a little bit of alcohol. I feel like in the dead of winter, when we open these guys, I'm going to be so thankful for this taste of spring. Let me know what other wild foods you want to see me make a beverage out of. Happy snacking, don't die. I gotta go finish having a panic attack. I love you, bye.
Hey cool kids, emergency video for anybody protesting on their college campus. This is me, 10 years ago, protesting on my college campus in grad school after Michael Brown was killed. Number 1, shut up. It's a given not to talk to police, but don't talk to administrators either. They want to meet with us. I'm sure they do. They had their chance to meet with you and they sick the police on you instead. Never forget that. 2, discuss nothing important in chats. Discord, any kind of group message like that, don't. Check-ins and general information only there. Planning should always take place in person with no phones present. Speaking of, number 3, write everything down. If it's not written down, it didn't happen. This is a good job for somebody to do that cannot be out on the front lines for whatever reason. 4, find an adultier adult and tell them where you are, what you're doing, and when you get home. There are some things in movement spaces that require a level of secrecy. Your safety is not one of them. Next, for now, I would suggest that you keep protests campus specific because different states, different counties, different institutions have different rules about when you are and are not considered a student. And being a student, at least for now, provides you with a bubble of semi-protection. If you are an amateur protester or demonstrator, you are inside before dark. Do you hear me? You are inside before dark. Incorporate art, dance, and joy into your activism as much as you can. Rest and hydrate, because I have been saying this for years. You get no extra points for running yourself into the ground. One more time, you get no extra points for running yourself into the ground. If I was still teaching on a college campus right now, I would cancel whatever lesson I was doing and have my students read these 3 things, and you should read them too. There are 3 kinds of protests that America has and always will use its full weight to try and stop. Labor protests, protests for Black rights, and anti-war protests. And you may not realize it, but protesting the genocide in Palestine is actually all three of those combined. So please have a healthy respect of just how far the system will go to silence you. All power. I'm proud of you. Keep going.
I will still sing songs after the revolution. I will still make coffee. I will still read books. I'll be a present parent. After my friends, I will still water my plants. I'll be a firefighter after the revolution. Be a teacher, be a student, be a cleaner, be a surgeon. I'll paint beautiful pictures. I'll cook delicious meals after the revolution. After the revolution. Does it bring you joy? Does it make you happy? This pale blue dot. After the revolution, there will no longer be 15-hour shifts. We won't let anyone speak to us like we're pieces of shit. We won't care if you're a customer. We won't care if you're the boss. We won't have to work just to survive. There'll be no more bullshit jobs after the revolution. No more goons, no more flunkies, no more corporate feudalism. We'll look back and wonder why we ever put up with working just to survive. Does it make you joy? Does it make you happy? This pale blue dot. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. You are not your job, you are not your fucking job. You are not your job, you are not your fucking job. You are not your job, you are not your fucking job. You are not what you have to do just to survive. You are not your job, you are not your fucking job. You are not your job, you are not your fucking job. You are not your job, you are not your fucking job. You are not what you have to do just to survive. You are not your job, you are not your fucking job. You are not your job, you are not your fucking job. You are not your job, you are not your fucking job. You are not what you have to do just to survive. You are not your job, you are not your fucking job. You are not your job, you are not your fucking job. You are not your job, you are not your fucking job. You are not what you have to do just to survive.
The revolution, after 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 the revolution.
You are not your fucking job. You are not your job. You are not your fucking job. You are not your job. You are not your fucking job. You are not what you have to do just to survive. You are not your job. You are not your fucking job.
After the revolution, after the revolution, after the revolution, does it bring you joy? Does it make you happy? Is it useful for this pale blue dot?
These college protesters are seriously wrong. In fact, let me show you all the times in history that college protesters have been this wrong before. In 1968, students in Columbia protested the school building a segregated gym. These racist, anti-white students had the nerve to say everyone should learn in the same facilities. Luckily, the cops came in. Columbia students, again, wanted the school to stop researching weapons to use for the Vietnam War. Silly kids, don't they know that killing people in other countries makes politicians richer? Luckily, the cops came in. In 1969, students at Harvard protested the school's army training program and the Vietnam War. How disruptive! If we don't go to war, how else will we send off all of these poor people who are using our money on benefits? Luckily, the cops came in. In 1970, students at Kent State protested Nixon's invasion of Cambodia. How naive! Don't they know we have to destroy and destabilize countries to look better by comparison? Luckily, the cops came in. In the 1980s, students at Berkeley demanded the school stop doing business with South Africa's apartheid government, who treated non-white people as lower class and unworthy. Luckily, the cops came in and said if treating a person of color is wrong, then I don't want to be right. So you see, college kids, just because you learn that college is for questioning systems and changing the world doesn't mean you actually do that. Luckily, the police have stepped in and always always been on the right side of history.
I'm 25 years old. I've lived my whole life in Gaza Strip and I've never felt hope like now. Never. I mean, it's magical feelings running in my veins right now in my head. I'm in Gaza City, in the north of Gaza Strip, rebuilding my city after this genocide is ended. I even started to dream that my friends from Yafa, Haifa, Akka, Al-Majdal are returning to their cities after being displaced for 75 years. These young heroes in universities around America and the world are stronger than the last occupation in history. And for the first time in our lives as Palestinians, we hear a voice louder than their voices and the sound of their bombs, and even stronger than their control in all aspects of our lives. In the 70s, the occupation prime minister said after decades of killing Palestinians, stealing their lands, and establishing State of Israel over the lands, that the adults will die and children will definitely forget. Wait, is that the greatest remontada in history? Because it's children and youth who are leading the movement now for a free Palestine, putting everything they have on the line to demand justice, an end of the genocide, and a new era of the world, not based on oppression, exploitation, or colonialism. Do you know what the best part is? Demonstrations and calls for boycott in the academic institutions are not limited to a certain people from certain religion, culture, color, race, or maybe economic level. We are all different. So we can no longer be accused of anti-Semitism, serving some agendas from outside. We are just different people calling for the same thing. People to people and people to justice. 200 days of spent escaping death every single minute were not in vain. And those 40,000 innocent souls were killed during these days were not also in vain. And this is the first time to feel this and to tell you this. Keep going, because you're our only hope. And we promise we will hold our ground and tell you the truth always. And please, don't let their violence scare you. In Arabic we say, ظهرهم في الحيط. In English that means they don't have other options but trying to terrify and silence you, because you are demolishing decades of brainwashing. You are making the change, the real change. Their violence means that we've begun to affect them deeply. Believe me, we are in the bottom of this bottle and we're very, very close to the end of the genocide, maybe closer than any time before. Thank you. Thanks for each one of you, because you've made us, me and my people, feel that we're free, we're heard, and we're going back to our homes and land. I've spent the whole night thinking about every video I see. You're shouting for Palestine, you are protesting for Palestine, you are dancing, singing for Palestine. I feel it here in my head. I'm going back and I'm free, and one day we will celebrate it in real, in Gaza, together. Keep going, and we will too. Salam.